Nara Smith is a model and an influencer. She's known for her home cooking videos and lifestyle content and her outfits. And she has garnered an avalanche of controversy. Her critics have smeared her with the label of Tradwife, and they accuse her of being a far-right propagandist and also of being a Mormon fundamentalist. And she has now spoken out in response to all of the criticism on a recent podcast appearance with Jay Shetty. It's titled, actually, in the thumbnail, "I'm not a tradwife," and titled, "They call me a tradwife, but here's the real story." So she has unequivocally rejected the term tradwife. She doesn't identify with it, and yet people continue to call her this because she got married and started having children quite young. She had her first child just a few weeks after turning 19, and now they have 4 children. She's pregnant with their 4th, and she's still working as a model. Her husband, Lucky Bluesmith, is also a professional model. They have this aspirational lifestyle. I think Lucky Bluesmith is a Mormon. He was raised Mormon. Nara Smith has said before that she is not Mormon, so I don't know what to make of that. People think that she's spreading Mormon propaganda through her content. I find that hard to believe. I have never seen her talk about the Mormon faith or even hint at it. But I wanted to show this one clip from the Jay Shetty podcast, which was getting a lot of attention, where she basically responds to people saying that she started having kids too young and she ought to be in the clubs. That's what all of these women say. And it's funny because I presume most of her critics, the feminists who are saying she should be in the clubs, they're probably like women who don't go to the club.
Who goes to the club?
Like, they're probably women who are shut-ins, who sit in their rooms doom scrolling all day and hating on people online. Like, I don't think that these feminists who are criticizing
wouldn't that be
her
a funnier
even
thing? They're like,
live the lifestyle that they want Nara Smith to live.
What if they're like, she shouldn't be a housewife. She should be on the internet hating on people.
Right, like they should at least be consistent with it. But here's her response.
People hear that I have 3 kids at 23 and I had my first a few weeks after I turned 19. They always freak out and they tell me, why aren't you in the clubs? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And I feel like they're projecting how they want their life to be onto me. That is a choice I made for my life. That doesn't mean that that's the right choice for you. It doesn't mean that your choices are right for me. And I think everyone is on their individual journey. Like, judging someone based on their timing of having kids or timing of getting married or whatever it may be is such an odd concept to me. And I never truly thought about that maybe Lucky and I are doing it really early or whatever until I had people's opinions on it. And I wouldn't take it back for the world. I think it was the best decision we could have made for us, because even though it is hard and it changed our life, we found so much joy in it and we find so much joy in it, and we really get to grow and learn. You learn so much from having children, and whether that's patience or understanding or whatever it is, I think I'm at the perfect time in my life to receive all of those lessons from my kids and pour back into them.
It's like there's an invisible force pulling her lips upward.
There's it's auto playing the next
When
one.
people hear that,
Okay. Most of the comments agreed with the sentiment that Nara Smith was sharing, but I did find some responses from radical feminists who completely reject the notion that you should be able to choose to be a wife and a mom. Mm-hmm. They completely reject that it even is your choice. If you believe that you chose it, you're wrong. You're actually so deeply conditioned by the patriarchy that you can convince yourself that you chose to get married, when in reality it was forced on you and you don't even know it. So here were some of the comments. It's not about the club. It's about, at 19, you are a child, raising a child. You biologically don't fully develop your brain until 25 or 26. So this person thinks that at 19, no one is capable of raising a child because they are still a child.
I mean, this is like when Kellen,
totally modern mindset.
Kellen would talk about like wanting to raise the voting age because like kids aren't mature enough these days, and I'm like,
That's
I
a
look,
hot
I don't
take for
agree
sure.
with lowering the voting age, but at a certain point we have to stop infantilizing people and treat them like the adults they are.
Well, I'm just like, let's take away the vote from as many people as possible. But I think him making that point comes from the fact that 19-year-olds in the contemporary age are obviously far less mature than 19-year-olds in the 20th century or before that. That is undeniably true. And I think we need to change the conditions that infantilize 19-year-olds instead of catering to the ways that they have been infantilized. Another comment said, conservatism is going to kill us, and so is choice feminism. So they believe this was very sinister, what she said in this clip. Another radical feminist said, I just saw a Nara Smith video, and wow, it's really impressive how subliminal her conservative messaging is. Like, even as a hater and a decently read feminist, I almost didn't clock the full insidiousness of this recent clip I watched. In this interview, she's saying if it wasn't for other people's opinions, she wouldn't have realized her and Lucky having a baby at age 19 was early. This is so coded, I need to know what conservative PR firm is training her. Straight up
That's
schizophrenic
insane.
paranoia. Like, yes, suggesting to her impressionable followers, disillusioned by autumnal capitalism, I have no idea what that means, that the reason they don't want to have a baby is because society and mainstream media has told them they shouldn't. If you remove the external opinions, girls would want to birth babies young. This is what she's saying they reject as radical feminists. They just cannot concede that this woman is coming from a genuine place.
So
they
wait-
believe that she's somehow been employed as a mercenary by some shady conservative PR arm.
How is it that the people who believe everything is a social construct don't believe that the changes in the ages we're having children and all of this stuff isn't also a reason based on our social constructs of today?
Yeah, I mean, if you even look at the upbringing of Nara Smith or her husband, they were both raised in conservative religious households and chose to start marriage and family life earlier than the rest of the population, much earlier than the rest of their generation, because of the values with which they were raised. That's a social construct. It doesn't make it any less valid than being conditioned in the opposite direction by being raised with mainstream liberal opinions. There's nothing subliminal about what she said. It's right in front of your face. I just don't want to live in the same reality that these people live in, where they're constantly looking under every rock for some kind of patriarchal subliminal message.
Yeah. I mean, you're
It
not.
must be a miserable existence.
It's weird too, given the fact that maybe it's just a function of the internet today, but given the fact that most of every normal mainstream avenue these days sends the opposite message, you then have to go down, hunker down and go into the bunkers of the subcultures you don't like to find them. It's not like I would consider Nara Smith an extremely mainstream person. She's not going to like whatever's on TV right now to look for anti-natalist propaganda. You can find anti-natalist propaganda everywhere.
Well, you know, one piece of anti-natalist propaganda is like a TLC show, like Teen Mom.
Yeah.
Okay? So none of those women who were featured on a reality show like that for salacious reasons were ever accused of spreading propaganda to the masses about having kids too early. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talking to that I'm standing on business.
Nara Smith is standing on business.
She is.
Now, I guarantee you, if Nara Smith were not attractive And if Nara Smith were not wealthy and a professional model,
Yeah.
none of this commentary would be surrounding her public presence.
Because she wouldn't have the reach that she has.
If she were an average looking, average income person living the same lifestyle, having a family on the same timeline as a married woman, no one would be saying anything about it. And it's not just because of her reach. It's because the women who are critical of her are, of course, thinking, if I had the advantages that Nara Smith has, if I started modeling as a teenager, if I had natural beauty that I could use to my advantage, I would be in the clubs. I would be living this hedonistic lifestyle, and what I would do with that is so much more worthwhile than what she's doing. She's misusing her gifts. That's how they feel.
It's so weird, too, because both sides are guilty of believing that the grass is always greener and how they would use whatever they have on the other side if they had it. Meaning, like, how often do we hear people talk about, if I had this person's money, I would do this. If I had this person's... It's kind of like baked into human nature to look at somebody that you disagree with who has more than you and assume that you would be able to do better with whatever it is they have. I don't think that that's a political position. I think that's a human position that most people have. The best thing that you can do is not to be narcissistic, but to be so focused on your own life and deeds that you're not worried about the success or life of others. At least not in any... it's one thing to be analytical about it. It's another thing to let envy control you. It's a path I wouldn't recommend anyone go down. And it's one of those things that I feel like it's formed so early in your life, it's very hard to remove yourself from an envious mindset.
Yeah, they say comparison is the thief of joy for a reason. But I would like to push back on one aspect of what Nara Smith said in that clip. She is trying to stave off some of the controversy by saying, look, this is what's right for me. And maybe it's not right for you. Maybe being in the clubs is right for you, and that's what makes you happy. That's okay. That's okay. Just do what you want to do. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think that is a cop-out answer, to be honest. And I think that if she really owned her lifestyle choices and the way that it's paid off for her in her life, she would encourage other women to follow in her footsteps, actually. She would say, I've made a decision that's objectively right for me and for the rest of you. Or at least she could say generally, most of you would be served well to imitate these decisions, right? Rather than going out into the clubs. She's literally saying, well, they all want me to go to the clubs, but, if you want to go to the clubs, that's fine. Go do that. Well, I mean, that almost comes off a little bit like sabotaging them. It comes off a little bit like what people call intrasexual female competition. I think that you should actually discourage other women from living the clubbing lifestyle, being highly promiscuous, even if they claim it's what truly fulfills them. We all know that's not true. Nara Smith knows that that's not true. She's not living the life that she lives because it's just right for her. She's living that life because she believes that's what's objectively good.
I mean, I think that there's a gap in the idea of what her mindset is there. You can live a life that you believe is objectively good and still be the type of person who is not that laser focused on the right and wrongs of others. Like, if she's so focused on her life and what she thinks works for her, look, is there something in her past behavior that has said that she focuses on her material because she thinks it's the right way to live? Is that people like the ones who are criticizing her, is that something they've kind of imprinted upon her? Because otherwise both sides are just putting into her words into her mouth that she hasn't necessarily said.
I think if it were Nara Smith's goal to propagandize people, she would continue just sharing what she continues sharing on social media, the videos of her interacting with her kids, the videos of her dressing glamorously in her home, cooking at home for her family and being happy. All of these things propagandize people more effectively than explicitly saying, you should do this, you should do that. But I think as long as you're in the position where you're on a podcast literally being asked for your take on something, you should just come right out and say that you live your life this way because you think it's the right way to live. That's actually just the truth. And I don't think that she genuinely believes clubbing makes anyone else happy.
I think that it is entirely possible for anyone, no matter what their views are, to believe that their lifestyle is right for them and may not be right for other people, given the culture that we were raised in here in America, which a lot of the times is the, you know, what's right for me is right for me, what's right for you is right for you.
That's a facade.
I mean,
a facade.
Maybe
nobody actually has a relative moral compass. Nobody.
I would find it hard to believe that there aren't people that at the very least don't think deeply.
Everyone believes in objective truth. Everyone believes there is objective right and wrong.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't know if I believe that everyone has thought that deeply.
They purport to have relative morality, but that's never true.
I don't know if she's ever said anything that would lead me to believe that she looks at her lifestyle as the proper choice for everyone, as opposed to just being the proper life for her that she wants to share with the world. Now, there's a whole nother discussion to be had about like what is a person's intentions when they decide to make content, share it with the world. People have the idea about like, well, when you're doing it, you're asking for attention. Well, be whatever that means. Let's be honest about it. Like, you're taking the time to film something, record it, edit it, put it out there. You want something from this exchange. Now, is it that she wants attention from people that she's sharing the content with? Or is it because she feels that she is sharing a message with the world that is a good one? And at that point, if we're to accept that that is true, does she believe that that message is so good that other choices are wrong? I don't know if I've never seen anything from her, and of course you might know more about her than I do, that says that she has thought that deeply about the meaning behind her message.
If she were to advise people, she would probably say there are a lot of things about my life that are exceptional that I wouldn't tell other people to imitate because you're not going to be in my tax bracket. You're not going to be wearing designer gowns in your home. You're not going to be cooking bubblegum from scratch because your husband likes bubblegum. You're not going to be making, Fruity Pebbles from scratch for your children. That's not actually aspirational, but there are other aspects that are completely accessible to the public, like being in a loving relationship.
Yeah.
Okay? So she does think that that's objectively the best arrangement for people's lives. And there are accidental properties to the life she leads, which are not accessible to the people who follow her. But that's not really the important part. I think people focus way too much on her wealth and not enough on the substance of why this woman is at least seemingly happy and fulfilled. If she were in a shitty marriage, I don't think anyone would be commenting on it.
I guess I feel like her choice to make these comments at all about like whatever's right for you is right for you is only coming up because she has been asked to do so, and that I could 100% buy that she could make all of this content and not really think about how another person lives their life because she's focusing on how she lives her life.
The way I interpret it is she's saying clubbing might be right for you in order to cushion the blowback that she's going to get just for existing. And I understand because everyone wants to be relatively unmarred and not be trashed for
I think
things online. Like, obviously she doesn't want to encourage people to trash her and her family, but I see that it's not exactly how she feels. Like, I don't think that's actually how she feels deep down. I don't think she genuinely believes other women are, especially the women hating on her, are happy clubbing. I don't think that that's her genuine worldview.
I guess pragmatically, as maybe this is just my approach to things, like I'll take what she says at face value, and beyond that, looking to make assumptions or some type of extrapolation about her greater intentions has absolutely zero to do with my life, so I will move on with my day. But you could be right. I have no idea.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.